What's up, everybody? Live from outside of the Majestic Theater, because we heard a show closed. And like most New Yorkers, we're looking to see if there's anything free we can salvage from people moving. It's Court and Amy, and I'm going to let you finish.
No, I use my basement for that. Because, the bed bug thing made it like for a while you didn't want to take anybody's stuff.
Because the thing about New York is I have some things in here that I have found.
Me too. No, listen, I have a beautiful mirror. I have some really nice stuff that I found in the basement. I'm not even lying.
I have two fabulous mirrors. One that I found that's hanging right when you come into my apartment. The big one that's hanging.
Me too. I have one that's hanging when you come into my.
And an extra one that I found that somebody was moving that is hanging in my bathroom.
Yeah, no,
it's like we New Yorkers know because a lot of times people.
And if you're getting good with your super, and we are good friends now, they will go, "Hey, I found something. I'm going to put it aside for you."
Because the thing is, and I've done this. Like when people move in it, like I don't know if you guys realize some of y'all live in places where you have cars and y'all are moving from a house to a house. A lot of times in New York, people are moving from one box to another and things just don't fit and they get rid of perfectly good shit. I do it. I've had a printer that I just did not use, put it downstairs and things. And people are very appreciative of, oh wow, look, hey, here's something. So, we find out somebody's moving or sometimes, unfortunately, like how people used to old school look at the obituaries to see who died, and that's how they would try to find apartments. Remember back in the day when people tried to find apartments in the city, they'd be like, oh, somebody died, that's going to be an empty apartment. I am not one who, and I have another friend whose apartment is filled with fabulous shit that he like wingback chairs,
so you're
tables.
Gonna kill him to get it?
Well, no, it's like I want his he has like the sniffing dog nose when it comes to somebody moving and a good piece of furniture being put out on the street. Anyway, it's I'm going to let you finish on the Pantheon Podcast Network. It's Court and Amy. We're here. We're in New York where the weather has been, 90 degrees, 30 degrees, 50 degrees, then 87 degrees. We don't know what season it is. All of my friends are having bad allergy attacks. My allergies have not kicked in because I'm still wearing a mask. And how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't. It's a Tuesday. I'm just slugging it through until the end of the semester. Slugging it.
Well, aren't we coming up on it, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. Just like
was it a hard one this year?
No, it's always hard. But this is the time.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone's relatives start dying and people have sudden mental health emergencies, and I'll just leave it at that.
So that's why their work hasn't been done, and they're
trying. It's like, oh, I need because and I am not at all mocking mental health emergencies, but at one point it's like, oh, interesting how it just manifested itself when you have a paper due, but. That's okay. I have nothing else to do. That's it. It's all good. Bunch of people coming to town next week for PopCon, which is something I've never been invited to, but it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. People we know, like former guest Jody Rosen, former guest Holly George Warren, former guest RJ Smith, and they're all going to be downtown at NYU's Clive Davis and using a lot of big words to talk about basically very simple stuff. But
what the fuck is popcorn?
Convention, pop conference. PopCon.
I've never heard of that.
Because you're not a writer.
Oh, how dare you?
It's the same reason.
Let me just
writing bad checks is not the same thing. Sorry. Writing to-do lists is not the same.
It got me published in the Post.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, Coachella.
Well, let's not start with that. Let's start with something more fun. Let's start with the playoffs in New York because the Coachella's so dumb. Okay. Oh no. Let's go to Coachella. Because I just want to say this.
You can't trash Frank Ocean now because there seems to be an excuse for the behavior.
No, bullshit. No, there's not. Let me just tell you something.
Well, let's set it up. So
Okay.
Frank Ocean has not performed live since a very long time,
A
a very
very
long
long
time.
time. Yes.
And he was slated to be the headliner, I believe, in 2020, and obviously COVID.
Right.
And then he has not put out a record since Blonde, which is 2016. So
Yep.
in pop music years, this is 100 years.
Absolutely.
And that is the advantage of streaming, I will say, because you don't have to have a record out per se. But Frank Ocean is someone, we've discussed him. There's a bit of an Emperor's New Clothes about him, but when he hits musically, I think he's really, really good and he is influential. But he was the headliner at Coachella the second night.
The
It's
third
two
night.
weekend,
The third night.
the third night.
Yeah.
And he was stop me if
Well,
you've heard
first,
this story. He was an hour late, number
well,
one.
first of all, there was so many things. Coachella live streams all of the stages. You can see all of the shows free on their YouTube platform.
Yeah.
So his show was scheduled to be streamed, and then suddenly the day of, they took both Bjork and him off of the streaming schedule. So those two acts did not stream.
So the two biggest acts, basically,
Right, didn't
except for
stream.
the two acts that people want, because those are the acts you can't go see in concert readily.
And everybody was kind of turned out at home. And evidently he came out an hour late, had a very eclectic set where it was kind of like he was obscured behind a screen, and then there were people walking in front of him and around. And it was some kind of weird show where basically people were getting reworked versions of some of his songs. And the way it was staged, a lot of people couldn't even see him. And it was very screen heavy. And because he started an hour late and there's a hard curfew, he just kind of came on the mic and was like, yeah, they said it's curfew, so thank you, show's over, good night. Now, my problem is, the next day we start getting all of these excuses, which to me feels like when everybody's upset, then the publicity team, oh, he had an accident, he hurt his ankle, they had to change production at the last minute, da 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 da. I hear all of those things, but then guess what? The only thing you need is your staging, you in a spotlight, be in one place and sing your songs, because nobody expects you to dance. I have a problem with, and I'm seeing all of the debate that some people like, he's an artist, he has the right. I'm like, listen.
I haven't seen that. I actually have. It's been very negative.
It's been
very negative.
Well, hold on. Let me tell you, on TikTok at first it was not, and there are a lot of people who love him who are defending him, who are like, he's an artist, he has a right to do this, and I've seen him before, and it was emotional. And then you have the other people like, this is bullshit. I'm of the this is bullshit kind of side, and this is why. I don't think artists owe people anything, right? I think you give people your art, you make art, that's it. You know, you don't owe people a bunch of interviews, you don't owe people to know anything about your life until you start doing things like, I'm now selling you things. When you sell me a ticket to say, come see me, I'm putting on a show, then I do believe I'm owed a show. Because these shows and these festivals are increasingly more and more and more expensive. There's so much planning to go into any of these festivals when you're a consumer. It's like they're upcharging you everything. Parking, like for Coachella, that is travel there. You're more likely staying in an Airbnb, you're staying in a hotel, even if you're camp. There's so much money. The least thing you can do is figure out how to fulfill your obligation for 2 hours. I have worked with artists who have been hurt, who have gotten hurt, who have been sick, but they rally and find a way. It's like, I sold people tickets to this. They spent their hard-earned money. They came to see me sing. We have to adjust this show, but I'm going to sing for them because I understand how it is to work hard and for people to come and see me. Now, you have some people, Frank unfortunately lost his brother, I believe 3 years ago I believe it was a single car accident. And, he spoke a little bit about his brother from the stage. And I understand all of those things, and I understand grieving is really, really difficult. And honestly, if you're not ready to do something, then don't do it. But I do not like selling people things, not fulfilling that. And it's supposed to be enough. You know what I mean? I don't like that. It's not cool. It is too expensive. You see, you and I talk about Ticketmaster and all these fees, all these things that everybody is doing. Find a way to do your show. It is disrespectful to the
I just think
audience.
at this point, I mean, honestly, I've been reading reviews of him over the years. I think it's really, and I'm not saying this as a disrespectful because I like him as a recording artist. I think there are
Mhm.
some people who are recording artists and some people who are live performers,
Absolutely.
and I don't think he is, for a variety of reasons, a live performer. I think he's someone who makes sometimes really brilliant, sometimes okay, but very interesting in studio stuff. And I don't think there's anything wrong with him just being. I just
There are a
don't
lot of people
see.
like that. You're absolutely
Yeah,
1000%
I
right.
mean, I
Great
saw
in the
I
studio, shitty
no,
live,
I
right?
saw Lewis Taylor
Yeah.
live, and I had been dying to see him
Hmm.
because I think, and I have to say, it wasn't that he was bad, but I was underwhelmed by him live, whereas in on record, unparalleled. Two
Right.
of my favorite records, easily of the aughts. So I just think at this point, we have to. Yes, I do think he could have adjusted. I have seen performers, Florence and the Machine. She went out sitting in a chair and did her whole
So did Dave
freaking
Grohl.
set
Dave
because
Grohl
she
broke
broke
his
his
leg or something
leg,
and
broke his
sat
leg.
in a throne and played and
Right.
did his
So I
show.
think
Yeah.
at this point we have to kind of say he's not a live performer. He's just not a live performer. He doesn't have the voice to really carry, and it's not, it's that type of voice. So I think he's just
Well,
not a
from
live
what I
performer.
heard, the songs he sang, he sounded great for the people who love him. But you know what? I have, I think I get in trouble every time we have a Frank Ocean conversation.
You don't
And
get in
no, I
trouble.
do. A lot of people, oh no, a lot of
Well,
people hit me up because they don't like my opinion because I think he's overrated, and people just cannot
I
understand
think
why
he is.
I would think that.
I think that, as I said, I think he's made one absolutely peerless record, which is
Channel, but nostalgia,
Nostalgia Ultra.
and he opened the show with Novocaine, which is
Yeah,
great,
no,
right?
a
Great
great
song.
song.
Yeah,
I think Channel Orange is also really good. I'm hot and cold on Blonde. I don't go
yeah,
back to it, but
yeah.
I think I just think at this point he's not
I enjoy
he's
his
not a
writing.
perform.
I think songs that he's written for other people I really like.
Yeah, no,
You
I just
know,
don't think he's a live performer, and I think that's perfectly fine. There are people, Steely Dan used to not play out for years. They were a studio group,
right?
so there's nothing. I'm not comparing him to Steely Dan. Calm
No,
down, but anyway, so let's talk about the people who were a little bit more successful. Bad
well,
Bunny became
yeah.
first Spanish speaking Latino artist to headline Coachella. So that's major.
Mhm,
From what I haven't been able to find any, but I'm sure he put on a great show. I've never heard about him not putting on a great show.
mhm. I watched
What
a
like,
little bit of his live stream. I saw a little
yeah,
bit
I
of
mean,
it.
have
Yeah.
you ever heard anyone say I went to a Bad Bunny show and I didn't get my money's worth?
No, but can I just say this? I kind of feel like he's really on the verge of feeling overexposed at the moment to me. You know,
Well, let
it's
him have
like,
his moment.
well, I feel like he's had the moment and the moment and the moment and the moment. You have to also know when to, because
Well,
this was supposed to be his year of being a little bit on a little bit of break and then come back in a little bit. It's like you got to be careful that you don't just drown yourself up. And I'm kind of getting tired of hearing
well,
his
in
name.
his defense, for a Spanish speaking artist in this
Mhm,
country to have this
mhm.
kind of success, let him have his moment because we don't know when this is gonna in the xenophobic, racist country we live in. Let him have his moment. There are still people who haven't seen him. He may retreat at this point. This is the height of the festival circuit. I think this is kind of he's not doing Glastonbury. He's not doing, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because he's not somebody who most of the people who go to Coachella, and may I just say, I will never grow tired of watching upper middle class white people pumping their hands in the air and singing along with Pusha T's cocaine raps. That to me, ladies and gentlemen, is comedy. Okay.
Ugh.
I love Pusha T. I have no
Can I just
problem.
say, whenever I
But
see,
I see that and I'm like, oh my God.
Whenever I see
Ashley or whatever you're.
Whenever I Tyler and
no, Tyler. Excuse me, that's a black kid name.
and a white kid name.
And a white kid. Ashley. I'm going to go with Ashley.
Well, I know a lot of black Ashleys, though.
Well, so anyway, the point is that watching these kids who can afford to go to Coachella throwing their hands up in the air going, you call it Diet Coke, that's a joke, right? I'm like,
never look, the crowd just, I look at the crowd shots and I'm always like, that looks like pure hell.
Well, being in a crowd, yeah, but I just will never, I mean, he literally was, and again, we have talked about it. I love Pusha T. He has a lane and nobody works that lane better than him. But like his graphics were like instructions on how to cook crack. I mean, he's committed. You got to give him that.
You got to be committed to the bit.
He's committed.
Blondie evidently did a set that people loved.
Of course.
And she and Debbie Harry and Nile Rodgers was a guest, and he came out and they did Rapture, and they did Backfire
this year. Oh, good. Wet Leg looked great, sounded great. Couldn't be who else was even on this? I mean, a bunch
Kali Uchis was there. Lotto, Doechii. I enjoyed the Doechii set. I watched her set.
How does Lotto have a set? I'm sorry.
I mean, listen.
I'm not trying to be mean.
No, it's like I have so many questions. There's so many questions with so many things. Though.
It's like I remember seeing one of those package tours. Remember when they would have like 9,000 R&B acts on one show, and it was like Mary J. Blige and H-Town and Silk and Shy.
They're still doing those shows. I just heard one the other day. It's like Jasmine Sullivan, Queen Naja, all of these people are going to be at the Prudential Center.
Right, but what I was saying is, and so Montel Jordan comes out and literally did "This Is How We Do It" 3 times. Like the remix, it's like when I saw Rex in Effect. They did Rum Shaker, then they did the B-side, then they did the mix, and it's like it's hilarious.
But Montel's side of his "Let's Do It" was a good one. Remember, "Let's Do It." Okay.
Oh, "This Is How We Do It" is a great song.
No, he had another one called like "Let's Do It" or something. Or
same. It was the same song, I'm sure. Anyway, so I don't know who else really who played because I don't pay attention. I'm not that I don't pay attention. I'm not saying I don't pay attention, but it's not. There was nobody there that I would have been honestly,
it's the same people. We've talked about this. It's the same people do it. It's like a circuit now. Like
not with Coachella. Coachella, I mean, Frank Ocean is not doing circuit. The circuit right now is Kendrick Lamar and rock band Du Jour. I think they do manage to pull a few more interesting out. But I'm sure it's great. It's another. I've never had a desire to go. Like everything else, I heard it was better 15 years ago. It's beautiful. Next weekend, who's the headliner for next week?
No, it's the same. It's always the same. For 2 weekends. Yeah, it doesn't switch up. You commit now for two weekends.
Okay, so he will not be on. I'm going to assume that Frank Ocean will not be on.
Well, no, I think I would have hoped they would have announced that by now because it's usually you sign up when you do it. You don't sign for one. You sign for both weekends.
So he'll get it.
It's usually the same shows, same order.
All right, we'll judge him and see what happens next week. If he redeems himself, he redeems himself. I have seen artists.
He is like watching paint dry. I'm sorry.
Well, but we've never seen him live, so I can't say that. I mean,
I've had the opportunity to see him live, and I turned it down because I
had the opportunity to have sex with somebody, and I turned it down too.
That's boo on you.
No, not with him. No, but I'm saying I have seen artists put on horrific shows and then seen them. Anyone who was a fan of the Replacements back in the day, you would go to some of those shows and it was like all hell broke loose. And then you'd see them the next time and it was like spot on. So
we've talked about this before. I've seen Mary J. Blige when her vocals weren't great. And then I've seen her times where she just blew the roof off.
I've never seen it. Yeah. I just saying, we'll see. I will.
I've seen Shaka Khan sound crazy, and I've seen Shaka Khan sound great. I think anybody can have an off night. You know what I mean? Anyone can. But I'm just not a fan. Not a fan.
Okay. That is absolutely fine. I like I said, we'll see. I'll pay some attention to it for next week, even though all right. So you want to talk about the playoffs, which is
we won our game one. Our Knicks won our game one. Game two is tonight. I'm very excited.
This playoff schedule is taking way too long.
Well, first of all, and we've had so much action already. We've already had Draymond Green stomping
what
us
is the hell?
We've already had
is
Draymond
he needs to be thrown out for the rest of the playoffs. Come on.
Well, here's the thing. The violation started with somebody just grabbed his leg. So that was the first. So and he
All
got
right.
it technical too. You grab the leg, then you get stopped, but it's always
Right.
Draymond. We've had John Morant hurt his hand in game one, and we've had Giannis hurt his back. There's been injuries, there's been excitement. The fucking Nets have lost the opening 2 games to Philly. They lost on Saturday, they lost last night. And they
I
come
don't
back.
think if you stomp on somebody's chest, yes, he shouldn't have pulled. No, I'm being serious. He shouldn't have pulled his leg. That was wrong. But I don't think if you deliberately go back, if you look at the tape, he returns and stomps on him. I don't think you should be allowed to play.
It was all in one action, right? My thing is, but here's the thing, and don't start none, won't be none is also a thing too, right? Because you can never tell. You do
throw
something,
them both out.
You don't know what well, they both got technicals, and
Right.
Draymond's technical had him thrown out. Tech too. But the thing is, it's just dumb. But I kind of like physical basketball.
There's physical and there's stomping on Courtney. We have been watching basketball our entire lives. I have no problem with someone throwing an elbow. I have no problem with someone throwing an elbow under the basket. Right. I remember when Lucian was in like youth basketball leagues, and this mother, this is when Fort Greene meant something, and she's like, "Your son is being so aggressive," and I was like, "It's a contact sport." You do know that, right?
You're like, "Get him."
Yeah, no, I was like, get him. I got no problem with an elbow or two being thrown as long as you don't go for the eye. But
you have a problem with a foot in
stomping when you're like 7 feet tall and 250 pounds and you get someone in the sternum?
Well, no. It was an accident.
Yeah. And it's Draymond Green. He's not exactly. I mean, this is not exactly like oops. Yeah, right, he's not like oops. I didn't know that was his heart I was stomping on. I mean, if it would have been Steph Curry or somebody who's got a little shinier, But I hope the Kings lose. I mean, win. I want the Kings to win because I'm tired of the Warriors. I am.
Well, how were your nerves watching the Knicks game on Saturday?
Oh, well, we were back and forth. Because at one point they were doing great, and then at one point you were like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "That guy." What's happening? I went, "That guy you said we didn't need." That's what's happening. He just went on a 15-point streak. That guy that you were like, "Oh, we don't need him."
It wasn't like we don't need him. I really would have loved for him to go out there.
I know. I
didn't want us to give up.
Trade away the future.
Trade away all of our shit. It's like
no. It was a great game, and at some point, if you're a Knicks fan, I guess if you're a fan of any team, unless they're like the Warriors or something like that, but if you're a Knicks fan, at some point they're going to nick up. And they
almost started to.
They almost started to nick up.
I was like, "What's happening?"
That's when I said he's going on to 15. That guy that you don't need. I think it was a great game. They showed a lot of heart. They showed a lot of hustle. It was lots of fun. Julius Randle just needs to realize he's a target for calls and calm his ass down a little bit.
He's an emotional player.
He's very emotional.
And RJ Barrett needs to show the fuck up.
It's one game. Jalen
but his whole season has been horrible, and they need him. And it's like, dude.
All right. Well, yes, but Jalen Brunson was like, and our white. What is our white's name again? I can say. Yeah, we have a white. They had a white too. Who believe? I'm allowed to say that stuff if anybody calms down. No, it was like great. And Tom Thibodeau never looks happy. Never. No. Never.
And he shouldn't, because there's things to clean up.
I like that they don't have to wear suits anymore, the coaches. I like that. I like that. The whole suit thing was always like, why are you wearing a suit? You're going to a basketball game. But it was good. It was a very good game tonight. It's just taking forever. I mean, it's like, come on, man. We should be like, this should be done.
Tonight, and then the next game, then the games move to New York.
That's going to be fun.
Listen,
nobody.
We will do the fun things. I will volunteer myself because Amy's the innocent one here out of the two of us.
I bet if we did a count.
I'm talking about for trading sexual favors for Knicks tickets. You're not going to do it. No. I will take one for the team if you give us 2 really good tickets. Who's got a pair of tickets for us?
Not even a good ticket.
Come on, James. No, I need a good ticket. Ticket.
Well, beggars can't be choosers.
Listen, if you want the love box, honey, you got to give me a good ticket.
No, I'm not.
Come on. That's why I'm offering myself. Be quiet. I'm trying to beg for us to get tickets. Stop talking. Listen, James Dolan, Somebody in
Oh,
his
please.
office.
Well, you have Republican friends. Why don't
The
you got
shade of my partner.
you have friends who probably contributed to his shenanigans. You know what's going to be interesting is
What?
that after this year, I think the lease is up with Madison Square Garden. They're going to say you have to start paying taxes, and he's going to go.
Well, they just extended them. I just
Good.
read
All
they
right.
got extended. The lease got extended.
All
Yeah.
right.
So
All right. Can we talk about this Time 100 list? And can we stop making these stupid lists?
and they do. You know what my favorite part about
It's
that
so
is?
stupid.
And they always try to be like it's a celebrity who wrote the essay on the other celebrity or the person. And the essay's always you read it and I'm like, this.
It's a press release.
I mean, nobody
press release.
half these people that you're saying wrote this. When you hear them speak, they don't even speak
No, they
anywhere
can't
near
speak. No,
this.
they don't speak it. All right. So it's
First of all, we didn't make the list, so the list is bullshit.
Well, it's also like influence is in the eye of the beholder.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of people on this list who are very, very important and have done important things. It's divided up into like scientists and politicians and artists. Okay, why is not Beyonce, Adele an icon, but Idris Elba or another person is an artist? When did she become an icon? I'm being very serious. She's not an icon. She's a very good singer. Popular, best-selling singer. So that kind of stuff gives me a headache.
We've gone through about the use of that word on this show. I get mad when I see like real places misusing. Like just because you say it does not make it so. And I think that word
overused.
It's like they've watered it
down.
It
means nothing.
Like, it means because you're calling everybody an icon. It's like, no.
Well, anyway, it's more clickbait. It's like there are just some people on there. It's like, who are they influencing? Why are they influencing them? Maybe you should have. I mean, Time very famously, and this is years ago, obviously, when it was a real important media outlet, very famously during World War II, the person of the year, the man of the year at that point, put Adolf Hitler. And he was, though, the most important person of the year, and he was a horrible human being. If I were making a list, I wouldn't put Caitlyn Jenner on any list because Caitlyn Jenner is basically a non-entity.
And a troll. Caitlyn Jenner.
A troll. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't... but anyway, it's a dumb list, but, we looked it over in case anybody
she's not done anything. Like, they keep giving it... Just because she transitioned, okay, but she's not been...
Shouldn't do anything.
As someone who really had the platform to really stand up and really hold a torch for trans rights and trans community.
That's what I'm saying. We're assuming that, it's like assuming that just because you're a woman, you're going to be pro-woman and just assuming.
I was trying to finish the sentence because what I was going to say is I find it crazy that was enough for everybody to just always reward her, right? Like she's done nothing. She's literally done it. And then chose when she does use her voice to kind of use it to be the worst kind of human being. It's like, why are you celebrating somebody who's really kind of wretched?
She was always a cunt, and now she has one. Right.
Work.
I mean, there are a lot of
trans people don't want her.
Nobody
feel like cisgendered women don't want her.
Nobody wants her.
It's like she's
Olympic
on an
athletes
island.
Don't want her.
No, she's on an island all by herself. It's like y'all keep giving her shit.
The Kardashians don't
want her.
Nobody want her. They don't want her.
No one.
I have to say this is the most. All right, I won't say it because it's a horrible thing to say. I'm not going to say it, but I'm just saying we should never. We should never. We should never misgender anybody.
And we don't. And we haven't.
But I would make an exception for Caitlyn Jenner.
It's like
I feel like she's just a horrible person.
She's just a horrible person. I feel like you had this platform and how you chose to use it was once again to kind of act in a way that an older white man would. You know what I mean? It's like all of the things that you said you suffer with for years in silence and fighting through, and it's like. Listen, it once again just shows you with certain people the celebrity is more important than anything else.
Well, yeah, all right, yeah, all right.
On that note, let's just take a break. We're going to
Okay,
take a break. We'll
we'll
be
take a
right
break.
back. And
See ya. Be
we'll see
here when
you.
we get back,
Be here when
please.
we
We
get
beg you,
back.
please.
Hello, Pantheon Podcast listeners. Christian Swain here to tell you more about my experience with Raycon earbuds. Our family now has 3 pairs of Raycon earbuds around the house, and my wife just grabbed a pair of the Headphone Pros to replace some headphones from a company that was double the price. And yes, she loves them. Now, if you haven't pulled the trigger on a pair of Raycons, or even if you have, but you're in the market for another pair because they're just that good, well, now is the time to check them out, because they just launched their upgraded model of the best-selling everyday earbuds. With Raycon's upgraded everyday earbuds, now you also get active noise cancellation, ergonomic design, and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. New quick charge function, 3 customizable sound styles, plus awareness mode. Available in a variety of vibrant new colors to complement any and all skin tones. I even have a pair of earbuds in a cool green color. I have tried just about every earbud known to humankind, and these Raycons are fantastic. Seriously, if you've been wanting to check out Raycons, there truly is no better time. You're going to ask yourself why you didn't check them out sooner, and Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to buyraycon.com/Pantheon today to get 20% off your Raycon order, plus free shipping. That's right, you'll get 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Pantheon. buyraycon.com/Pantheon.
And we're back.
All right, so Billy Porter has been announced that he is going to play James Baldwin in a biopic, which could be a very interesting biopic because, for my money, James Baldwin has led an extremely interesting life, and you know, just one of the greatest writers who's ever been.
Absolutely.
As a fiction writer, as a nonfiction writer, I make my students read them all the time, and they're like, "Yeah, who cares?" So I have seen 2 differing opinions on this. My mainly black Facebook and Instagram feed is like, "Are you kidding
In
me with
ours.
this?
Up in
Are you?"
ours.
One woman wrote, "The only thing they have in common is poor taste in white men." Meaning Baldwin and Billy Porter. Yeah. I just, in case some people didn't know, that James Baldwin was gay and mainly went out with white guys. And then other people are like, "Oh my God, this is going to be brilliant." I've never seen Billy Porter, and I'm being very serious here, in a serious role. He was somewhat serious as play tell, but a lot of it was like, "Where's the scenery? Give me a knife and fork. I need to start making a meal out of this," which was perfect for the role.
This is you have a lot to prove. This is okay, you have to strip away all of you. Because when I first heard that, I was happy for him, but at the same time, I was like, and this can be a disaster. Right?
It could be a disaster.
This could be a complete disaster because I do think, as someone who, he's a theater kid, right? So you do tend to have to really be able to act when you're a theater person, because there's no safety net going on a stage every night. But some of the roles he's played in the theater have always given him space to be flamboyant and big, like Lola in Kinky Boots, right? Those kind of moments, or when he's kind of a guy who gives a little bit of comic relief, like if you go back in the day when he was in Broken Hearts Club, and those kind of roles. I do think that he would have to know that this, he's got to pull it all out, because I've seen every response. I have, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a Black gay man, and shocking, I know. I've seen the gamut of the reactions, and I've had some of my Black gay friends who are just absolutely appalled. They're like, "Why?" I just don't, because they look at Billy Porter and they see one thing, this, what he loves to present. I think
But he is an actor, though. He is an actor.
That's what I was going to say. I think that Billy Porter would 1000% understand the importance if he's going to take on the
Oh,
role
yeah.
of
No,
James
he
Baldwin.
100%
And
understands the
I
importance. Yeah.
believe that he will surprise everybody and really pull it out his ass, because you have to. You can't take this on and be.
No, this is where the word iconic will play. This would be because the Bayard Rustin movie has never come out. They
No.
filmed that, and it's just dead. I mean, people. Does he look like James Baldwin? No, but that's ridiculous. We don't need to have people who look exactly like them. I mean, I mean, that's people have suggested Marshall Ali. Well, Marshall Ali could do this with his eyes closed, for crying out
Mahershala
loud.
Ali is like 6'3" and
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter.
It does, but he can. His physicality to me would be absolutely jarring as a James Baldwin, because he'd come in the room and just be too big. That I think that was the reason why the Whitney Houston movie did not work. I was Naomi was a fine actor, but she looked so much like Brandy and not Whitney Houston. When watching the movie, it really was kind of. It just takes you out of it, because you're like, who is this supposed to be? You know what I mean? I think that there are some similarities with Billy and James. And I think, with the right hair, the wig, all of the things.
You know who would be really good? I just thought about it, but the only problem is he has that scar on his face, is Jamie Hector.
You know who would be really good if we would.
But he's got that scar. They would have to really obviously cover that.
Yeah, but you could do that with makeup. Or I think somebody like a Jeremy Pope would be really, really good.
Yeah, yeah.
But see, these are the people that we think of who do serious things, right? So
right. They also need box office. Let's be honest. Well, I mean, Billy Porter is box office.
Well, we hope, right? Because he's never really carried a film. Let's just see. It's hard to picture it, because we picture his personality, but I would hope that with him doing it, and it's going to be done, and it's Byron Allen's.
Who's directing?
Well, I don't know who's directing, but Byron Allen's company is producing it. So
there's money behind it.
There's money behind it. You have Black production behind it. I think they're going to realize the importance of telling this story. And
do we know what focus of? Is it going to be like a cradle to grave?
They haven't said anything yet.
Listen, he's one of the most important thinkers of all of our country, and the fact that they're even considering doing this is a good sign, because very often the films about Black people are entertainers, and it would be really nice to have somebody who was like a true intellectual and just a fascinating I mean, he's really a fascinating figure. So I'm willing to do it. I just was, my immediate thing was like, wow, Billy Porter. But again, it's not fair. It's not fair. Well, not everybody. I saw a lot of people going, this is genius, but that's okay. That was the white people.
Yeah,
that was the white people.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Because
bless their hearts.
People were like, oh my God. It was like,
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, have you really looked at his, But in his defense, he is an actor.
Yes.
I mean, we have seen... actors, they act. That's what they're supposed to do. All right, speaking of acting, Phantom of the Opera closed. Who cares?
I'm just saying, they have been acting like...
I don't care.
They have been like...
They're acting like it's the end of the world, right?
I was like, they're like, it's closing. How many years has it been there? Like 37? I'm like, guys.
37, really?
Guys.
Yeah. I think you got your investment back. I think it's fine, That's the average age of somebody in Tennessee. Okay?
And trust me, they're like, because it's become so expensive to run. Like, yes, Phantom of the Opera is an old school musical that had an orchestra of 40. It was a really expensive show. Watch. I can bet you within a year, we're going to hear about the fucking revival coming.
There's no touring companies of that show?
There's a million touring companies.
That's what I thought.
It's still playing in London. It's still playing in Australia.
And it's terrible, too.
And
it's a terrible show.
And what happened in London was, when they shut down, they revamped the show and came back with a different sort of run so they could run cheaper. And I bet you that is what's going to happen here. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, I mean, I never saw it. I never had any interest in seeing it. I
Mhm.
think Anthony Lloyd Webber is a hack. I read about him,
Andrew.
but Andrew Lloyd, he's a hack.
Yeah.
And
Listen, I've seen a
he takes most of his music. I mean, it's fine. It's good for the tourists. It brings money to New York. It brings money to Broadway. Blah 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 blah. But
listen,
it's like,
I usually love a splashy Andrew Lloyd Webber musical because they're usually
yeah,
it's usually a couple of really good songs around a so-so script, but a
which
fabulous
he
set.
doesn't write. That's the thing. There's a great article I think in New Yorker. Like, his stuff is literally like sample clearance. Hello, the only reason he gets away with it is like Puccini's been dead for 9 million years. No, I mean, it's like 37 years. 37 years. Come on, like, you cannot complain when a show shuts down after 37 years. That's like being greedy, and makes it through a pandemic, and makes it through the city being bombed, and makes it through. Come on, man. It's like, hush your bazoo, please.
Listen,
All right, can I just say something about me? All right, I know that you're Mary Quant. Okay, if you're a woman of a certain age, raises her hand. All you wanted when I was a little girl, all I wanted was a one-piece dress with stripes, with a chain link belt, and white go-go boots. That's all I wanted. Was that much to ask for? And bangs. You wanted to be one of the Shrimpton sisters. You wanted to be Chrissy or Jean. You wanted to look like Twiggy. You wanted to have a Sassoon haircut, which we actually had. Me and my sister had Sassoon haircuts. They were very cool. Mary Quant. Oh my God, Mary Quant changed the world. She changed the world. And she passed 2 weeks ago, a week ago, a ripe old age, so nothing. She got her due while she was alive. She was a dame, wasn't she? They made her a dame. I can't even, I mean, well, because you have an eye for pop culture and fashion. She didn't invent the miniskirt, but she made it more popular. She epitomizes the whole swinging London thing. I found a Mary Quant coat once in a thrift store in Portland. You would have thought I had found that. I was like, I mean, it has a little stain on it, and it was one of those thrift stores where, okay, some of the clientele may have been on meth. I don't know. I'm not going to judge, but they didn't know what they had. You know what I mean?
You were like, I do, and it's $5. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It was $7, but yeah, of course. It was $7, but it was green tags, or 25% off today. No, it was like one of those. Candace and I were like, shh, act like you.
And you still have it.
Yeah.
Work.
I mean, it's got a little stain on it. It really doesn't fit me, but who cares?
But you're like, I will never get rid of it.
Never. It's Mary Quant.
Right. We also lost Ahmad Jamal, who was an esteemed jazz artist and pianist, lifetime Grammy Award winner, National Endowment of the Arts jazz master. I mean, an amazing
super sampled
figure.
too. Super sampled by a lot of our smarter rap group. Oops, I'm sorry, did I say that? But it's true. Anything else you can think of before we get into what we're listening to? Because there's only 2 things out this week that anybody with their mind cares about. Well, one was last week, and one is this week. So anything on your mind, topic wise?
No.
Okay. So Pet Shop Boys have an EP out, which I can't believe you didn't know about. I told you about it, and you were like, where were you? Where were you?
I followed them in a bunch of shit. But you know what's been coming through all of
the remixes?
It's been all of the promotion around Smash, the upcoming hits compilation. So each day they've been putting out clips of a different one of their singles. So I've been seeing all of those. I had not seen Lost, and I didn't realize it was a whole EP. And then Friday and it was great again.
Of course it's great. Of course, it's great. They're always great. They always say each record sounds different, but yet them at the same time. You never go, is this the Pet Shop Boys? But it sounds different. So they have a 5-song EP out now called Lost. And Jessie Ware, who if there's a God in wherever she might live, meaning God, has a new album coming out next week. So we'll talk about it then. But she's getting a lot of press. And the article in New York Magazine, they said she was roller skating in the Atlantic Terminal Mall. Hello. I live in that mall.
Right.
Where is there a roller skating rink, and where did they set it up? And who did they set it up for? That I met this really cool British writer at a little party in the neighborhood the other day. who now is going to listen to our show. She writes for The Guardian, and she said that Jessie Ware's podcast is to die for.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to start. It's her and her mom.
I've listened to, she had Kylie Minogue on an episode. It was really good.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. And it's like cooking and it's really fun. So yeah, so Jessie Ware.
I like her because she curses like a sailor and I enjoy that.
Well, she's British. She's a real woman. She's, she's British. She's not concerned. I mean, I do like her early stuff too, where she wasn't doing more dance stuff. So it's not like I'm suddenly loving her.
But people forget she started with dance stuff. She was a featured vocalist on a lot of dance records and a lot of her early stuff. And then that Devotion album was kind of groovy, but she's always flirted with dance.
She kind of was in this kind of electronic kind of vein, but I love everything. I like that she doesn't look like a little skinny mini pop star, that she's got kids, that she's
married to a personal trainer.
No, she's married to her personal trainer. It's her high school boyfriend. Is he a personal trainer?
And he's a trainer. Yes.
All right, but I made it sound like Madonna, for God's sake.
No,
she's married to
she's married to but he's a personal trainer.
Oh, okay. Well, she's fabulous, and she's Jewish, so we like that. And no, she's great. I always liked her, and she's got a great voice. And I got to tell you that Pound, I think she got overshadowed for a million different reasons by other British women singers, and I think that.
But her records come out and they do well, and she's got an audience, and she tours here, and she does well when she tours here.
And she was opening up for Harry Styles, so that was a lot of exposure. No, I'm very excited to hear what she has to do, and if she becomes huge, that's great. If she doesn't become huge, it does. Free Yourself, I thought was a great single. The new single is a little more. Yeah, she's great. I'm very happy with anything.
Everything But the Girl drops this week. I'm really excited for that.
Oh, okay.
The first new album in 21 years. I'm really excited for that. So we will see.
She's married to her personal trainer too.
I mean, I'm trying to get us married to one of the Knicks personal trainers. So, honey, we could be in again. All right, then I'll just take somebody else to the games. You'd be like, why didn't you take me?
No, I don't want to be with personal trainer. Well,
I'm going to marry. I'm trying to get us tickets.
All right.
Amy's the one who would mess up the plan. I'd be sitting there whispering, I'm going to do this. She's like, I'm not. I'm like, girl, I'm saying I'm going to do it.
No. I used to get press tickets. Get press tickets to the Knicks game. I mean, the last time I went a couple of years, I haven't been in a long time, but I did get, because I did an interview with Latrell Sprewell, and then I did an interview with Patrick Ewing. I was in the locker room, which is terrifying, because these guys are like sequoias. They're like human sequoias. If I'm in a situation where I feel like I'm a little, what's the word you can say now? You can't say midget, right? A little person. If I feel like a little person, and a sequoia is coming. I walked into Kiki Vanderway, literally hit my head on Kiki Vanderway. Ow. Kiki Vanderway, for all you old Knick fans. That's a little morsel for you, Knick fan. Oh, and I've also been listening to Traffic, because I'm going to continue in my series of listening to things where you say deliberately, and then I'm just going to keep doing.
I will say this weekend I got into the Emotions for some reason, and I've been listening to a bunch of the Emotions albums. I'm ready to hear some real vocals again moment, so it makes me have to go back.
But yet you're still listening to Mylene Farmer and Madonna.
Listen.
Well, those are your questionable vocals, which you hold in a whole different level of esteem.
Yes, that's a different thing than when I'm really wanting to hear some singing.
No, you are good. You are very good. You are very aware. You have never pretended. You have never said, Aretha Franklin, Mylene Farmer, the same.
Never have I ever. Sometimes when I want spectacle and, you want that thing, I want that groove. But sometimes when I'm in here and I want harmonies, it's like, I go to old, and it's like, I'm not finding that in any of this new stuff. You go back to listen to like the Jones Girls, Pointer Sisters, Emotions, and just those kind of blends and harmonies that I'm not getting today.
Well, they're not putting together groups in that way now.
And a lot of these groups were sisters and related.
Right. No, you cannot beat a sister or brother harmony. No. Can you think of, seriously, off the top of your head, any other, not rock, because there's Haim and a couple other, but can you think of any R&B groups right now that are related to each other in a real? No. Tony would be the only one, and they're an old act. I can't think of any group of women.
There's the new younger Womacks. There are 3 Womack grandchildren, but
the grandkids of Womack and Womack.
I believe so. But that's the thing, right? It's like, we don't have those kind of groups that have become huge. And it's right. Families that have been singing together forever. It's like the Clark sisters. It's like, you can't, it's hard to read. Like, the thing that came closest to that to me, there was a group that was put together, is In Vogue, which is why they were so special in the beginning, because they had the kind of harmonies of people who had been singing together for a gazillion years.
You hear it in country somewhat. You hear it in country. You do. There are women, artists. It's mainly women who get together. Like, I have not heard Boy Genius, but I've heard that they do that. The Highway Women, people like that. But let's face it, the vocal quality is not as important right now. So why would they want to take 3 people who can sing when they can just have somebody who can kind of sort of sing and make it sound good? And then that's not a diss, but it's just kind of the fact,
what I mean? It's not a diss when it's factual.
I mean, SZA and Doja do great stuff together, but they're not harmonizing. They're they're bringing separate stuff to it, and they're putting them together.
Belter. No one there is going to hold a really sustained note. It's not that.
That's not the style of music right now. I mean, that is sort of Frank Ocean's kind of influence in a way. It's a more kind of, the vocals are more akin to mumble rap in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And no, it's just not that kind of style. They said gearing up for their Social Security. No, it's just a different style of music, and it might come back, it might not come back. But yeah, you're exactly right. The 70s, the 80s, the 90s, that was the era for that. You had those great I mean, the Emotions were Philly International, right?
And they went to Columbia, and they were produced by, they were first on Stax, and then they went to Columbia. And the Columbia years is, like the Earth, Wind, and Fire influence, Morris White and all, so yeah.
They don't have that. All right. On that completely depressing note that life is not worth living and music sucks. But it doesn't, because Jessie Ware and the Pet Shop Boys.
No, that's the thing. There's always glimmers of hope. And there are artists out there, Kalia. There's new artists who are actually very interesting. There are. But, I do miss a moment of a good old R&B group with some stellar writing, great love songs, and just vocals, man, like the kind that make you shiver. You're like, wow, that was amazing.
It's the difference between an R&B group and a girl group. There's a big difference.
Absolutely.
It's just not, we can live and dream, we can live in hope, right?
We can live and say, thank you for listening to I'ma Let You Finish on the Pantheon Podcast.
He is like, oh, look at you.
Listen, so much better by transitions. Remember we used to be like,
we'd go segue.
We'd be like talking about a movie, and then I'd be like, so da-da-da died. Something fell on their head. You'd be like,
Courtney, you need a transition.
You're like, can you rub it first before you just decide to go for the kill?
It's like, Courtney, a little context. You're scaring people. You've got, mom and dad are very proud of you.
Well, you kids know the deal. Blah, blah, blah. You listen, blah, blah, blah. Leave a review, blah, blah, blah. Tell a friend, blah, blah, blah.
Please leave a review.
Yeah, please.
Seriously. Yeah. Don't tell. I mean, we love it when you tell us if you're our friends how great we are. Yeah. But could you commit to putting a few words down on paper?
Put a few words down.
Please,
leave a rating. All of those things do kind of count.
No, they kind of do count.
And we appreciate the numbers.
Yeah,
we see you guys there. We just, we also appreciate all of the commentary on our Facebook at I'ma Let You Finish, all one word, at Instagram at I'll Let You Finish NY, at Twitter, for now, at Finish Ima, at TikTok, I'm gonna let you finish.
No, it's like tick, tick,
this
tick.
thing, because that Twitter shit, I'm like,
No, I'm already done.
This is a trash can on fire, and everybody's trying to act like that's not happening. Okay.
It's pretending that James Dolan isn't James Dolan at this point. He's a horrible man.
Anyway,
and on that note,
we'll see you next week. Bye.
We're not horrible men.
We're not horrible men. And
go Knicks.
But we will be for Knicks tickets. Bye.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.